Buenas noches, Abby. Gracias por estar en el canal. Bienvenido. Bueno, quisiera preguntarles sobre un cortometraje que me pareció diferente, chévere, que se llama Kill Me Twice. Coméntame sobre él.
Okay, Abby, welcome to the channel, and let's start talking about a short film that John feel that it was really different, it was really great. That is Kill Me Twice. Tell us about it.
Oh wow, Kill Me Twice. I didn't even know people could see that movie. That was the first movie I think I made with my current company, Radical Rhinoceros Pictures. I made that back in 2013, I think. But it was actually the first movie I made with Brandon Burton, who plays the master of the books in CRAM, my last movie. Andres, should I pause to allow you to translate, or that's all good? Kill Me Twice, I made at this point over 10 years ago, and I had met Brandon Burton, who I think is one of the great actors of his generation, and he plays the master of the books in the movie CRAM. And he, in CRAM, we cover up his face, and he's playing a very old man, although he's quite young. And it was such an amazing experience getting to work with him. And now I feel like people are finally catching on to how good he is. But 10 years ago, it was just the two of us. So it's amazing to have grown up with this community. Movies are not made by one person. I've been really lucky to make movies with a wonderful community of fellow artists.
John, sería bueno que le preguntes sobre CRAM porque él dice que la película Kill Me Twice, que fue hecha en el 2013, fue con sea la primera la compañía donde él está y aparece el gran protagonista de CRAM, que ahí descubrimos lo buen actor que es, y lo bueno es que incluso usa un maquillaje muy, o sea, él no es así de viejo, no es un maquillaje, es un actor de método y usó una técnica de maquillaje muy buena. Entonces, si tienes preguntas sobre CRAM, dale, porque es el mismo protagonista de Kill Me Twice.
Exacto, porque son 40 minutos. Bueno, ya no es una película, pero se denomina pues más que...
Metraje.
Exacto, metraje. Entonces, quisiera preguntarle sobre, bueno, el poder realizar esa película con el mismo protagonista, pero también hay un paso ideal y en la banda sonora. ¿Cómo hicieron para que la banda sonora pudieran conocer pues al compositor? Porque creo que es una diferencia muy grande a lo que se ve en películas de terror.
In Latinoamérica, a movie of 40 minutes is called mediometraje. How is it called in the States? It's not a short film, it's not a full length. What it is?
It's a great question. The word I like to use is featurette. It's like not a short, Beautiful. Not a featurette. But I think that, one of the challenges with making CRAM was when we were taking it to film festivals, people didn't know whether to program it as a short film or as a feature film. And then it was really thanks to the Austin Film Festival in Texas. They programmed us as a feature film, and we ended up winning the audience award there. And that gave us a lot of legitimacy as a feature film. But at the end of the day, for us, it was always about story. And, the length of the story to me determines the length of the movie. I'm not going into it from the beginning with a specific length in mind. It's just however the story needs to be told.
I work on a movie festival. I think I need to install that word, featurette. This is really beautiful. And I will tell John, es que tenía que preguntarle, adivina cómo se dice un mediometraje en Estados Unidos, no sabía. Resulta que técnicamente el mediometraje no existe allá, pero en el Austin Film Festival, que por cierto, ¿no? En ese festival no es que estuvo la mesita del comedor, sácame
sí.
una duda. Pues adivina, en ese festival CRAM ganó premio del público y es una locura porque lo presentaron como un largometraje. Pero entonces le dije que le voy a robar esa palabra para el Festival de Cine y ya le pregunto lo tuyo y gracias, tenía que preguntarle eso, John, y obviamente la preguntar por Sidney a Manuel. Thank you, man. And now the great question from John, and I really love it, is that, yes, there is an aspect on CRAM that is not only the performances, but the music, man. How did you find the amazing Sidney Emanuel, man? You had to tell us.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much for asking about the music. I feel it's one of the things I'm the most proud of in the movie, and I feel like people don't often ask about it. But the composer, Daniel Rudin, he's a wonderful friend of mine, and we met actually because my cinematographer and co-producer, Felix, was working a job and knew someone who knew him. And we were looking for someone. It was a very particular desire for CRAM because we wanted the sound of an orchestra, but we didn't have the money for an orchestra. So we knew that we would need someone who could make an orchestra out of nothing. And when we were interviewing composers, I was asking people, how they might go about doing that. And Dan, he said to us, if you can give me real life strings like violin and cello and bass and a clarinet, he could do the rest in the computer. And the CRAM score to me, and I remember there were moments when we were in the recording session with the violinists, and he would say, okay, play it, as well as you can, play it this way. They would do it. And then he'd say, now for another take, play it like you're the second chair in the orchestra. So you're like a different player. And he was recording the same player playing multiple times so he could build an orchestra out of very few musicians. So it's such a big score, that sounds way more expensive than it actually was. And it's composed so beautifully. And, the last thing I'll say about it is the song at the beginning of the movie. That was actually Dan, the composer. It was his audition for the job. I asked him to sketch something and that was what he did. And it blew us away.
John dice que está feliz por esa pregunta porque se suponía que tenían que hacer una banda sonora orquestada, pero no había presupuesto. Entonces, esta es, digamos, esta gran contribución es la muestra del talento de esta persona y la canción que suena al principio, que imagino que tú la escuchaste, fue con la que audicionó esa persona.
Sí, además pues la película se va a trabajar muy bien y bueno, no solo eso, en el tema musical también él ha dirigido pues temas musicales. Hay una en particular que sí me dejó pues pensando, que es interesante, una banda que se llama Jatenjor. Quisiera preguntarle cómo fue que llegó a ella y además, no sé, ¿qué inspiración tuviste para poder pues, dirigirla?
What is your inspiration for the music video for Stolen Yards, Long, New York?
Oh, wow. Wow. Thank you so much for asking about these older projects. Long New York, that was the first thing I made where I really felt like I was starting to find my own voice. It was a small band from New Jersey. I live in New York City. So it was a small band from nearby, and they had gone to university with my partner. And they had very little money. And so the deal we made was, we would have very little money, but we would have a lot of creative freedom. And so they were making a visual album for 6 songs. And they sent the album to me and allowed me to choose the song that I was responding to the most. And I chose Long New York. I think I was responding. It's a beautiful song. And I still love that music video and the experience making it. And the inspiration really was just this feeling of the loss of childhood and how we kind of carry this stuff. I mean, I went back to my mom's house. She was moving and she had all this stuff from my childhood, and I was looking at it, and these were objects that carried such meaning for me. They were so important, and now they feel almost like relics. They feel both really personal, but also almost like when you go to a cemetery, you're like, it's not really the thing itself. It's a reminder of the thing. And so I wanted to take that idea and turn it into a character that you could interact with. And of course, we found. Also, Andres, I appreciate this. Is a very long answer. Thank you. We found the 2 actors in that video, Jessica Lara Bentley, who plays the monster, who would then go on to be in my short film, some of her parts. And then Kylie, who plays the little girl. And she's Kylie Silverstein. And I thought she was just one of the most incredible talents I've ever worked with. Working with children it's really special. I love doing it, but it's also so delicate and you have to be very careful. And she was a dream to work with.
Tienes una pregunta sobre Some of Her Parts, porque la protagonista del video de Stolen Years es la misma. De hecho, también aparece la otra protagonista, es una niña, dice que trabajar con niños es muy bello, pero muy delicado. Dice que está feliz que le hayas preguntado por eso, porque es de los primeros trabajos que él hizo, que la canción es muy bella. y que fue como un momento hasta extraño, ¿no? Porque estaba incluso mudándose y todo con la familia, pero si tienes una pregunta sobre ese corto,
Eh, sí, de hecho hay un tema importante y es sobre la inmortalidad. ¿Cuál es tu concepto referente a ello? ¿Tienes el pensamiento de que si le dan una oportunidad de que vivas por siempre, lo harías o no?
okay, talking about some of her parts, and what is your concept about immortality, life? If they give you the opportunity to keep on living, do you will accept it or not?
It's a great question. That was the question I think that led to that movie. Before making it, I had been diagnosed with a chronic illness, and I was asking questions for myself. I was asking, what does it mean to be sick for the rest of my life? What does it mean to be in pain? And I thought about how in our healthcare system, people very often, at least in America, people, we define health as the lack of pain. But if you take away your body, if you put your mind in a box, well, you won't be in pain, but you also won't be a lot of other things. So at the end of the day, I'll leave it to the audience to decide, what they would choose for themselves. But for me, some of her parts was really almost like a very dark joke about what I think sometimes the hospitals, the doctors would do if they forget that we're people, and that being a person is more than just being alive. I would not want to live forever like that.
I
Yeah.
also got like a chronic disease, so I understand it.
Yeah.
And no, yes, I think life is beautiful even with this pain, but it's like a thought of mine, but I will translate. John dice que es una buena pregunta porque es la idea de este corto. Dice, bueno, aquí nos dice Abby que él sufre una enfermedad crónica y que eso lo hizo entender cómo sería, o sea, en Estados Unidos creen que hay unas personas que piensan que la salud es no tener dolor. Entonces, listo, si tu cuerpo vive, si tu mente vive dentro de una caja, pues tú no vas a sentir dolor, pero entonces, ¿qué sucede con el resto? Entonces dice que obviamente que es una broma, digamos como una especie de broma fuerte, la trama de la película, pero tiene que ver con esta idea muy poderosa. Entonces él dice que no quisiera vivir eternamente.
Querías, bueno, pues sí, eso es algo muy duro de tener que responder. Bueno, no, nuestra última pregunta es sobre preguntarle sobre una miniserie que no he podido encontrar nada de ella. Quisiera preguntarle en dónde la pueden ver y si alguna vez desea de pronto aprovechar el talento que tiene esta actriz, Nana Ponce León, que sería muy bueno que le diera más oportunidades.
It's crazy because yo watch or found mostly all your work but not the center for complicated grief therapy, sorry. So where he can find it, but also there will be like more chances to work with Nana Ponce Leon. He found that she's a really great actress. I think it's Nana Ponce Leon. She's Latina. I really love that name, by the way, Nana
Yes.
Ponce Leon. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. You've done an amazing job with your research. That was a project. For a while, I was working a day job at Columbia University in New York City, and through that job, I was working with a psychologist who was developing a grief therapy model. And so, as part of her approach, she wanted to come up with a series of videos about a therapist and a patient going through grief therapy, and we wanted to hire actors to do that. So that was a really interesting project because I had a lot of time, but it was all these really long monologues, and we wanted it to feel as real as possible. So that was almost more like theater because I had to do very long takes, and we did a ton of rehearsal. I love rehearsal. I rehearse for all my movies if I can. And I did theater in high school. So I think part of it is that I grew up in that tradition. But yeah, that was an interesting project. I don't necessarily think of it as like a narrative filmmaking piece so much because it was so educational. It was meant more for therapists than for a general audience. But it was an amazing opportunity to work with actors on really heavy material.
John dice que este proyecto fue más terapéutico De hecho, fue muy teatral, tomas larguísimas. Era cuando estaba en la universidad y era también para tratar como este tipo de temáticas. Entonces, pero dice que te felicita y tienes que agradecerle porque dice que hiciste buena investigación.
Ah,
Y
pues,
pues le haré la pregunta. I got a question because you told us that the Crown won on the Austin film. I
Yeah.
think that in the same festival we got people from that same festival. In which year they it won, and also in that festival did you watch? I will name you two movies. I don't know if these two movies were on the festival because they were on the channel.
Mhm.
The Coffee Table, When Evil Lures. I don't know what do you remember? Because yeah, no, let me tell you, it's crazy because Hispanoamerica, yes, Hispanoamerica was the big team in terror horror last year. I mean, Spain, Argentina, also Colombia got great movies. I work on a movie festival in Latin America. So, what did you watch those movies? Watch movie on the Austin Film Festival? Did you participate? Do you recommend? And of course, tell us how was winning the audience award. I mean, it's one of the biggest because we, the audience, are the ones that got the right, not the critics, man.
Exactly. Thank you. Yeah. I have the award in my office right now. We played in 2021. So it was 2 years ago. It was one of the best experiences of my life. Austin, we had our world premiere there, so nobody had seen the movie. And I came down to Austin with my, producer Trevor Wallace, my cinematographer Felix Hanta, the lead actor John Domino, Brandon Burton. I mentioned all of our partners, Dan Rudin, the composer. We went down with a huge group of people, and it was such a gift to be able to experience the movie with everyone in person. It was our first time seeing it on a big screen. It was our first time really seeing it with anyone. And the festival, Austin's amazing because they really celebrate movies that are, not necessarily well suited to Hollywood, but still have a great deal of merit. And the director of programming, his name was Tim Gray. He's no longer working at the festival, but he was the director of programming that year, and he's the one who programmed CRAM. I mean, he didn't even know us. He didn't know us at all, and he saw CRAM and he went to bat for it. He had to advocate for it because it was a 45-minute movie, and nobody wants to program a 45-minute movie, but he believed that the audience would appreciate it. Yeah, he liked it, and he was willing to take a chance on it. So I'm forever grateful to him and to the Austin Film Festival for giving us that opportunity. And once we had the opportunity, we didn't waste it. At the end of the day, I'm grateful to the audience for their experience with the movie. It means the world to me. And at the same time, we worked so hard to get people to show up. The Austin Film Festival is it's like a circus. There's 5 movies happening at once, and there's parties and whatever. So to even get people to come to the movie is a lot of work. And we put in a lot of work. So yeah, it's an amazing experience. And then to your other question, there were many movies I saw that year that were at the festival that were wonderful. When Evil Lurks was after my time, but Damien
Yes.
Rugna is, of course, he's a legend in the indie horror film community for a reason. And I think he's able to capture a feeling of profound evil in a way that few filmmakers are. So it's amazing. Yeah.
Which movies were they shown on your year, man? I am curious because it's great to talk with one of the winners. So,
Yes,
and in
thank
fact,
you.
I was telling John that send that kudos to Damian Rudna. He will send it. No, Damian is great. Let me tell you an anecdote, and I had
Yeah.
to thank John also because yeah, when that happened on Citiets, I was John. I need Damian for my festival. I know it's a small festival, but we need. Hey, it's okay, Andres. John shared me his cell phone. When Evil Lures got premiered on my city, we live on a small city called Cucuta. It appears. So for me, it was wow. This is a small movie because it's still a small movie. It's on my city. I will watch it, and I watch it in the. It wasn't the movie was shown on the worst time. No, the best time, mostly midnight, but in the worst place.
Yes.
When I watched it, I took the picture of the ticket. I show it to Damien. He sent me a bit hard. I was like, man, Demian is now talking with the big ones, but he answered me as a small fan because I didn't even interview him. No, he's a legend and he deserves everything that is happening now. But all of you, the terror community, because it's a small community, man. But tell me one movie or two movies of that same year that you recommend us.
I'm trying to thank you so much. Also, I completely agree. I mean, it's an amazing experience being at a festival like that because you get to meet so many people who are in the same place as you. And, every festival I've gone to, it's not about winning the awards, really. It's about meeting other filmmakers. It's about meeting critics. It's about meeting journalists, the opportunity to grow your community. Because again, like I said, you cannot make a movie by yourself, or at least I cannot make a movie by myself. And I don't want to. And so because of film festivals, I'm able to meet people and grow my community. But to your question, I'm trying to find, there was the movie that won I'll say these are my top three today. They might be different tomorrow. One movie that I keep coming back to is Bram Stoker's Dracula from 1992 by Francis Ford Coppola. Okay, this is crazy because you watch that movie. There are images in that movie that it's almost like I stole them for CRAM. I swear I didn't see the movie until after I made CRAM, and I didn't believe me. I saw it and I was like, did I see this movie and forget? Because it feels, I mean, obviously I come nowhere near Francis Ford Coppola's, expertise and mastery at that moment. I can only aspire to that. And it's such a gift to be able to see my own work in that movie. But that movie is amazing. And Dracula, the story of Dracula, I find so captivating. There are flavors of it in CRAM. The idea of the Dracula myth, the vampire. CRAM is so much about how our academic environment is really vampiric. So yeah, Dracula is huge for me. Let's see what else has been on my mind. I love the first Candyman. The original Candyman to me is perfect because it takes like really intellectual and, academic ideas, but then puts them in such a digestible, exciting package. And to me, that's what makes horror movies so exciting is, they're about really important things. They're about what we as people and we as a society are afraid of, but they're entertaining and fun and scary. And the Candyman is just perfect. And then for my third choice, I'll choose something that's like, it's definitely a horror movie, but I don't know how much it's in, ordinary horror circles, but that's Inland Empire by David Lynch. David Lynch is obviously a huge inspiration for me, both in his work, but also in the way that he works. He's so in touch with his intuition. And I often feel like the best work that I do is when I'm not really there, when I can put my ego to the side and just show up and create. And when I watched Inland Empire, I got to see it on the big screen last year for 3 hours, just sitting there in a dark room with that movie. It felt like I was on drugs. I felt, I couldn't tell you what time it was. I couldn't tell you what year it was. And it's such I don't know, I felt such fear, but then also because I was so lost, I also felt kind of at peace weirdly. And I think that like combination of terror and peace to me is like the perfect horror movie.
Por último, ¿cómo define todo el trabajo en una palabra?
Define your word in one word.
Radical.
Yeah. And in Spanish, it's the same, radical. Radical. Radical, yeah. Jhon, ¿qué más?
Bueno, redes sociales, un saludo para Colombia. Invita a la gente a donde pueden ver pues la producción, todo.
Okay, the camera is yours, so you can tell your social media so people can follow you. Invite people. Somehow this movie hopefully came to Latin America on the festivals. I don't know, whatever you want. Don't worry that Demian will listen to your last words. Jhon will make that possible, but go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you. And Jhon, thank you. Andres, thank you. It's such a gift that people around the world and in Colombia are finding CRAM, are interested in the work that we're doing. Like I said earlier, you know, so many people worked for years to make this movie with me, and it's such a gift to be able to share it. So thank you. And yeah, if you're interested in seeing CRAM, of course, you can find us on Instagram. My production company is the production company is Radical Rhinoceros, or Rad Rhino. The Instagram handle is at Rad Rhino Pics. And then you can find me at Abie Sidell, my last name. So that's ABSIDELL. I'm also on Letterboxd, which is where I log all the movies I watch. And you can also log CRAM there, write reviews for CRAM. I love seeing what people think. That is my favorite part of these interviews, and my favorite part of the experience is when people I don't know get to have their own experience with the movie. You know, when you finish the movie, it now belongs to someone else. And I think it's so exciting to hear what people think. Oh, I see, Jhon, you just sent me your Letterboxd. Amazing. I will follow you, and I can't wait to see what you think. So anyway, yes, thank you both so much. Muchas gracias, and mucho gusto.
John is telling me that, yeah, I'm taking so long to create a letterbox. Oh, but I will do it. I review movies, but on Rate Your Music, but I know Rate Your Music is still really, really underground. But okay. No, it's crazy because the name of your company reminds me there is a video game called Rat Racer. I remember, and totally rad. No, I really love the name of your company. And no, man, thank you for being here. We really enjoy it. I was so tired, but not you. Now I feel more relief. No,
thank you so much. Thank you so much. I always say to the audience after they watch CRAM or before they watch CRAM, when I give an introduction, I always say, thank you for dreaming with us. And I really mean that. How would I say that in Spanish? Thank you for dreaming with us.
Gracias por soñar con nosotros.
Sí. Gracias por soñar con nosotros. Sí. Thank you.
De nada.
Oh, thank you so much. God bless you, man. Bye bye.
Gracias. Ciao. Bye bye.
Bye.
Ciao.